So today we are doing lesson 4, the muscular system. Let's first begin by talking about what we have already learned. We have learned that the human body systems are interconnected. Remember that interconnected means that they are related to each other, that they depend on each other. One system cannot work or function without the other system. We talked about the skeletal system and how there are actually two parts to the skeletal system. The first one we talked about was the axial bones. Those are the center core bones of the body, the skull, the spine, the rib cage. They form the center of your skeleton. And then we have the appendicular bones. The appendicular bones include the appendages, like our arms and our legs. They hang from the center portion of our body, or they hang from the axial bones. We also talked about how joints are where two bones meet, and we have several different types of joints. We have joints like what are in our fingers and our elbows and our jawbone. Those are called hinge joints because they work sort of like the hinges on a door. They allow the bones to move backwards and forward in one direction, but do not allow for a whole lot of rotation or circular motions. Then we have joints like what are in our hip bones and our shoulders. Those are ball and socket joints. They have the most amount of movement. And then we have the joints, those are all movable joints. We also have joints that don't move at all, and those are the joints like what we would find in our skull. Our skull is made up of a bunch of smaller bones that fuse together after you were born, and as your brain grew, those plates within your cranium or your brain, your skull, fused together, but they are still individual separate bones, and those joints do not move. Then we have a few joints in our body that move a little bit, not a whole lot. Those are the ones in our ribs that attach our ribs to our sternum, and they allow our rib cage to expand as we breathe. We also learned about cartilage and ligaments and how they are important to our skeletal system. Remember, cartilage is the material like what you would find in the top of your ear or in your nose. Cartilage is found between your vertebra and your spine. They allow or provide cushioning to the bones. It is also material found around the ends of the bones that sort of smooth the bones out and help reduce friction, which keep your bones from having a lot of wear and tear on it. And then ligaments are the long rope-like structures that help to hold our bones together. Today we're going to learn about a different types of muscles in the human body. We're going to talk about the muscles. We're going to see our muscles in action, figure out how they work. And so our purpose for listening is that we're going to, of course, learn more about the muscular system and see how it is interconnected with other body systems. If you have not already filled out the KWL chart, and your teacher has told you to do that, please do so before you continue with your ed puzzle. Okay, let me go in the right direction. All right. Hi guys, it's me, Ricardo. Last time we were together, I told you that our next discussion would be about a system that works extremely well with your skeletal system. Did any of you predict the name of the system we're going to talk about today? If you predicted the muscular system, you're correct. You've learned how the bones in your skeletal system are connected from head to toe. Bones form the important framework of your body, but they could not move without the help of your muscles. What are muscles? Well, the word muscle comes from the Latin word musculus. Muscles are made up of bundles of long, thin cells. If we back up and we talk about that word musculus, musculus means little mouse. It's thought that a long time ago somebody observed muscle movement under the skin and thought it looked like a little mouse moving underneath, and that's how muscles got their name. So muscles are made up of those bundles of long, thin cells. And if you look at the picture, you can see how muscles have that long look to them, and that's because of the way that the muscle cells are put together, or how they are made. They are controlled by signals that come from your brain and spinal cord, which carry messages through nerves to every part of your body. Muscles receive these messages telling them when to contract or tighten, how to contract, and for how long. When muscles contract, they squeeze together, shortening and causing movement. Muscles are at work in your body all the time, even while you're sleeping. You have more than 650 muscles in your body, making up between 1/3 and 1/2 of your body's weight. There are 3 types of muscles in your body, but most of them are skeletal muscles. Your skeletal muscles work closely with your bones to give them mobility or motion. Just as there are axial bones and appendicular bones, there are axial muscles and appendicular muscles. Which muscles do you think are axial? Right, the ones in your head, neck, and torso. And where are the appendicular muscles located? If you said in your arms and legs, you are correct. Most muscles work in pairs. Muscles only pull on bone. They cannot push. As your muscles pull on bone, they contract or get shorter. In order to relax or lengthen, muscles need a partner to pull the bone the opposite direction. Paired muscles never pull at the same time. One pulls, the other relaxes. One relaxes, the other pulls. Look at this picture of the muscles in your upper arm. It shows what happens when you make a fist and bend your arm. The bicep muscle contracts and bends your elbow, while your tricep muscle relaxes. When you straighten your arm out again, your tricep contracts and your bicep relaxes. By working in pairs, taking turns pulling on your bones, skeletal muscles enable you to ride a bike, play the guitar, or climb a mountain. Skeletal muscles come in all sorts of shapes and sizes, fat and skinny, long and circular. Because you control your skeletal muscles, deciding when and how you want to move your bones, they are called voluntary muscles. The movement does not happen automatically. You make a conscious decision to move the muscles attached to your bones. Narrow, rope-like tissues called tendons attach bones to muscles. You can see tendons under your skin if you flex your arm back and forth. Try it. Bend your elbow as if you wanted to show off your muscles, and feel the tendon just under the skin on the inside of your elbow. What other good places to view your tendons? What are other good places to view your tendons in action? How about your neck? Can you find the tendons as you turn your head? Can you find the tendons in your arms and your legs? The muscles in your legs are the largest and strongest skeletal muscles in your body. One of these muscles is your calf muscle. See if you can feel your calf muscle at the back of your lower leg. Your calf muscle is responsible for much of your movement, helping to bend your knee when you walk or run. It is attached to your heel bone by the longest, most powerful tendon in your body, the Achilles tendon. If your Achilles tendon is cut or torn, the use of the leg for jumping and running is is lost immediately until it heals. An ancient Greek legend has long been told about the Achilles tendon as a figurative phrase to indicate our weak spots, places where we feel most likely to be hurt, either physically or emotionally. The myth goes something like this. Long ago in ancient Greece, a baby was born. According to custom, his mother held him by the heel and dipped his body in the river Styx. It was thought that this water was a powerful river and it could make a person invincible, unable to be defeated in battle. Achilles grew up to be a warrior, and indeed the river's power seemed to protect him from injury throughout many battles. However, there was one spot on his body that the waters had not touched. That was the spot where his mother held him, on his heel, Achilles' heel. He was finally killed when an arrow pierced his heel, his one vulnerable spot. From then on, people have referred to their own area of weakness as their Achilles heel. Poor Achilles. It's a shame he wasn't wearing some armored footwear. Oh well, it's only a myth. Let's move on and learn about other types of muscles in your body. In addition to skeletal muscle, there is smooth muscle and cardiac muscle. Are you ready for another riddle? I'm a muscle, like music. I have a rhythm and a beat. I am protected by the rib cage. What am I? Does anyone know what type of muscle is contained in your heart? Smooth or cardiac? Your thick, powerful heart is made of cardiac muscle, the strongest muscle in your body, found only in your heart. Unlike skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle never tires. It is continually contracting and relaxing, rhythmically pumping blood around your body all day and all night. Cardiac muscle is an involuntary muscle, meaning you do not control its movement. Your brain controls how fast your heart beats without you even thinking about it. Why do you think that is important? Smooth muscle is the third type of muscle in your body. It is also involuntary muscle because you cannot consciously move smooth muscle. It contracts exactly like skeletal muscles do, only much more slowly. Lining the walls of internal organs and blood vessels, smooth muscles use less energy than skeletal muscles. It squeezes and tightens, mixing and churning the food in your stomach. It lines your lungs and blood vessels too. So let's look at the picture real quick on your screen. You see you have skeletal muscle, and look at how its shape is compared to the cardiac muscle. And then the smooth muscle. So these are all muscle cells, but each muscle cell is shaped different depending upon what its function is. The next time we meet, we'll talk about the system that controls all your other body systems. This system controls both the voluntary and involuntary muscles in your body and much more. Can you guess what system you will learn about next time? I'll see you next time and we'll see if you guessed correctly. Okay, so our word work today is voluntary and involuntary muscles. As we read, you heard Ricardo say that because you control your skeletal muscles, deciding when and how you want to move your bones, they are called voluntary. You also heard that cardiac muscle is an involuntary muscle, meaning that you do not control its movement. So say these words to yourself: voluntary muscle, involuntary muscle. Voluntary muscle, involuntary muscle. So let's look at the difference. Remember, voluntary muscle is like your skeletal muscle. The definition for voluntary muscle is these are those muscles that can be controlled with someone's own choice. I make the choice to move my arm. I make the choice to move my legs and to walk. Those choices are causing those muscles to move. And so I'm the one telling my brain to make those muscles work. The other is involuntary. That's like the muscles in my stomach digesting my food, or like the cardiac muscle in my heart. Those are not controlled by choice. My brain, I am not consciously telling my heart to pump, 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 pump. I'm not consciously telling my stomach to churn, 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 churn. It does it whether I think about it or not. So think about some other examples of maybe voluntary muscles or involuntary muscles. You have the sentence, blank is an example of a voluntary muscle, and blank is an example of an involuntary muscle. Can you think of those? So what part of speech would the words voluntary and involuntary muscles be? Is voluntary muscles something you can do? Is it describing something? Is it something I can touch? If I think about the word voluntary and involuntary by itself, the part of speech is one thing. But if I consider it all together, involuntary muscles or voluntary muscles, I hope you said that those were nouns, because if you did, you are correct. Until next time, have a good day.